Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you guys how to groom your eyebrows. Now I have to say I had terrible eyebrows when I was a girl. I had really thick kind of caterpillar like eyebrows and I hated them so much. So I'm going to show you guys how to groom them so you don't make the same mistake I did and start trying to cut into them and then they never grew back. There's nothing worse than when you are a very young teenager trying to do your own brows because it's very difficult. Getting somebody else's opinion, like your mom, an older friend, an auntie, or somebody to help you out, to help you create a guideline so that you can follow it yourself. My mom did my eyebrows and I kept the shape pretty much that she gave me the very first time that she did my brows. I'll show you guys the guidelines in this video. Hopefully you will watch it with your mother or an older sister and they might help you work out how to do your brows. Now if it's the first time that you've ever done your brows, it's gonna hurt. Eventually you will get kind of used to the pain. I don't even feel it anymore. Try using a little bit of ice or you can buy numbing creams that will help to hold the skin tight, and that will prevent it from kind of pinching and squeezing too much of the skin. You also want to be plucking out from the roots right outwards in the same direction of the hair growth. You don't want to be going back on itself, you don't want to be going upwards or downwards, you want to be going in the same direction of the hair. Otherwise you could cause the hair to break, you could damage the follicle inside, the hair might never grow back. You could also have a problem where you get an ingrown hair. None of that is good. Now it's important that the tools that you're going to use are clean as well as the surface that you're working on. So we have everything prepared, we have our area nice and clean, we have our tools clean, and we're ready to get going. There's 3 areas that you need to take into consideration: the starting point, the arch, and then the outer point. So I've taken a white pencil, and the reason why I'm using white is because it's a little bit more obvious than using a black. If you use a black, you might mistake it for a hair and you might not notice it too well. Use a clean spoolie and just run through the brows. So to measure the starting point, you're going to place your brush, your pencil, anything alongside the edge of your nose. It goes through the pupil and it goes right up. This is going to be your starting point. Now you can leave a few extra hairs if you have like a wide-ish nose, add a few extra hairs there and it will just make that area look a little bit smaller. Or if you have eyes that are set wide apart and you want to bring them closer together. So you can just add a little bit of a line just where the start of it is. Next you want to do your arch. So you're going to place your brush or your pencil alongside the edge of your nose and then going right through the outer portion of your pupil. So you want to look straight on in the mirror, go alongside the nose, through the pupil, just on the outer part of the pupil, and then you're going to bring it right up, and that should be where your arch is. And you can just add a little bit of a dot above and below your arch. Next you want to do the outer part. Now this is very important as well because a lot of people's eyebrows can stop a little bit short or they can go far too long. It's very rare that they're right where they're supposed to be. You can place your pencil or your brush alongside the edge of your nostril, up towards the outer portion of the eye, and then you have the outer part there just where it meets it. Draw your little line in again. So now that we have our starting, our middle and our outer part, if you need a little bit more of an extra guideline, you can take a brown pencil and you can just line the very outer part of your brow just so you know exactly where you want it to be. So if you have hairs in between your 2 eyebrows where they meet, you can get rid of those ones and make sure to go right up to that white line that you've placed. And it's the same underneath the brows. You want to get right underneath. Now depending on how much arch you actually want, you can take a few extra hairs from just the inner part and then just bring it up with the rest of it. And you can get rid of any of the hairs that are lying around that flat line. Always use a clean spoolie and just run through the brows on a regular basis just to make sure you're getting the right shape. If it's the first time that you've ever done your eyebrows, it might take a while for you to get the shape that you want. You're better off doing it a few times rather than getting them too thin and then have to wait for them to grow back. Another tip is not to use a magnifying mirror. The majority of people that have overplucked will say that they have used magnifying mirrors because they just show too many hairs and then you start just going crazy and plucking all these random hairs that didn't need to be plucked. Always take a step back and just check that the eyebrows are getting the shape that you want. Once all the hairs are gone, you want to go back in and you want to clean the area again. If you have spots and stuff around your brows, it's either because the tools weren't clean, your skin wasn't clean, or you've got kind of ingrown hairs. So any of those can affect it. That's why it's important to clean before and after. Now I'm going to show you how to trim your eyebrows. Now not everybody has to trim their eyebrows, but because mine grow quite long and they grow up and they grow down, I have to trim them just to keep them within their shape. You're going to start by just brushing through your brows, and you're going to brush the brows upwards. Now what this is going to do is to cause all those long hairs to grow right up, and then you can go in and trim them. So this is where the scissors comes in handy. Now you want to use a scissors with a slight curve. If you use something that's too flat like this, you'll end up cutting the hairs straight, whereas you want to have them slightly curved so that it can go into the shape that you want. And I'm going to do the same where I brush them down and then I'm going to slightly trim them. Now you're better off trimming above a little bit more than you trim underneath, because what you can do, if you trim too much underneath, you'll end up with like short little patchy eyebrows like that. So we're going to take a spoolie and you're going to brush your brows right upwards, and this will expose any of the long hairs, and then you can just take your scissors and just hold the hair and just snip them a little bit. You only want to get the tips, because as you brush them back down again, they need enough length to go across the brows. Now I like to do just underneath as well. You can brush them downwards and then just trim the edge of the hairs. Always remember just to brush them back into place, making sure that you can see the shape that you're trying to create. Now for filling in the brows, I usually take my brow pencil and just run it over the brows very gently. Then I will take an angled brush and my brown shadow. I take one that's more of like a caramel brown and then another one that's more of a definite brown. Take your angled brush and follow the shape of your brows, doing little strokes all the way along. You can allow the shadow to get a little bit darker on the outer part, but you don't want it to be too dark in the inner part. Set it with some brow gel, or you can use a little bit of Vaseline or hair gel, provided you don't let those two things get on the skin. It should only be on the actual hairs themselves. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye! Happy eyebrows!